Oh yes, once again continuing the story behind Zaycalcoco. Let me explain my encounter with Mr. Paul when I started off working with Mr. Paul. After my first day with Mr. Paul, where he introduced me to the coconut shell, how to clean, how to remove the water, how to remove the internal part of the coconut. Then Mr. Paul told me the next day, because it was a Saturday, so the Sunday after church, I had to go to his place to visit. So when I went to his place, what Mr. Paul introduced me was to the tools, okay? So the tools he showed me, first how to sand, how to remove the rough surface. That all was handmade. Then he told me, okay, after you do this, because the place was divided, his kitchen was divided in 4 particular areas. Now, the first part, which is cleaning on the outside, because you see, when the coconut comes in, the cleaning is being done on the exterior, outside. After it's been sand down and you remove the rough surface, you bring it in on the inside, which is a special table where the processing of the craft is being done. Okay? So after you place this, you place the coconut shell on the inside, then Mr. Paul is going to determine, okay, if the shell is big enough, we're going to make a turtle out of it. If it is small, then we're going to make a fish out of it. If not, we're going to make a bird out of it. Okay? Because Mr. Paul was specialized in this particular craft there, and well known in the community and on the island. Okay? So after we identified, okay, we're going to make a turtle out of this, or we're going to make a fish out of this, out of the coconut shell, then the next step would be to pass it on the table for fish or pass it on the table for turtle. Okay? Then he showed me, you take the pencil and you mark out the turtle, because he had a template already. Okay, since the business was already established, he had a template for the turtle and he had a template for the fish. Okay? But he told me, remember Nikki, it is always your creativity. It is not because you see I'm doing turtle, you come and do turtle alone. No, it is your creativity, because your creativity is what's in you. Now, if you love to do the art, you will find things, you will get things and other things. Your way of creating would be different. Remember, this is just a starting point. And then I started there with him, okay? I started on the Sunday, and you know, the good thing about it is there is a level of contentment when you make progress. So you find, I started off with the coconut, the dry coconut with the scuff on the outside. We peel it, we clean it on the outside, on the exterior. Then on the interior, we came in with this very same shell. Okay, you remove the water and everything outside. On the inside, then you start doing the work there. But the good thing about it is, the very first step is already progress, because you're starting from nothing and you're already entering into the phase of seeing something being done. Okay? So for the mere fact now that something is being done, wow, it pushes you to, yes, like you get more curious. Curiosity now is growing, because you see, wow, look, this is that. Because it is something I never knew. And I started discovering it. So when I started off with him, he told me, no, in your case, you're going to do a cup first. Okay? Because I thought I will be doing the turtle. He told me, no, in your case, you do a cup first. And that cup, you're going to take it home to show your parents what you did. So I started off with the cup. So he showed me, okay, you measure from one point to this point, you cut it off. Remember, it's always manual. I started doing everything manually. I was doing carpentry, so I was already skillful enough to hold a saw and cut the coconut shell, because it was being done with your hand. So we took the pencil, we'd mark around the coconut shell, And then after, what we'll do, we'll then take the template for the cup, which is on the table, look at it, and then using a steamer, I call it a steamer. It's like you observe what's on the table and you do it like it. It's an steamer. So after I cut the template, I place everything in place, I sandpaper, thinking that my first sandpaper was nice enough. He told me, no, you're not finished yet. He told me, you're not finished yet. You need to sandpaper at least 4 times. I said, wow, I never knew that. He said, yes, you need to sandpaper 4 times. You give it a rough, then you give it a medium, then you give it a rough again, and then you give it a fine. So the sandpapering, that was the process for me. So after I sandpapered, then here comes the assembly process, where I have to actually attach the base to the bigger part of the cup. And then I attached it, I stuck it there, and it stayed there. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, the good thing about it is Mr. Paul always emphasized that it is always your creativity and not copying what I have done. You see, so the cup is yours. Yes, I have the template. But remember, you look at the cup like you're doing the thing, not Mr. Paul's template you're copying. You see? So the elders back then were already installing into us that we need not to copy things from people. Okay? Use your creativity to develop yourself at all times. Okay? You use your creativity to develop yourself at all times. And I continued with Mr. Paul for 2 or 3 months. And from there, I discovered so many things with him. Okay? And then after we worked on the coconut shell with the turtle, the fish, and then he introduced to me the corn, the animal corns, the cow horn, how to make the fish with the cow horn, how to make the cups with the bamboo. He introduced this to me after we finished all our coconut crafts. So you find I was being an integral artist. Okay? Starting with the base, which is the coconut shell. But in the community itself, one person with his skills, he educated those who wanted to. Because he actually told me, there are those who come for one day, and after that one day, that's it. You don't see them again. Why? Because they were not curious enough to discover that they had artistic expressions in them. You see? And that's the reason why. That's the reason why. With the artistic expressions you've got in you, you need to discover it by getting curious. Okay? You must be a curious person. Okay? And how do you get curious? By just looking at things and asking questions and saying, wow, let me try that. Let me try it. Let me try the coconut shell. Okay? Now I will be having a short course where I will be explaining the basic steps in making a spoon out of the coconut shell. So as soon as I'm finished documenting the story behind Zaycalcoco, I will be introducing the short course. Okay? Now remember, if you can do one spoon, because you see it's the lack of knowledge, because you don't know what to do, you will not get curious enough. You might get curious because the urge is in you, but sometimes you don't get curious because of the lack of know. To you said, I don't know. Okay, so you block yourself by saying, I don't know. I don't know is the barrier. So you need to cut off that barrier and introduce, I will know. I must know. Okay? That is where the why comes in. You say, yes, why? Why must I do it? Okay, why not now? So you start right now. Oh yes, I would like to say thank you very much for listening to the story behind Zaycalcoco. I appreciate you so much.